Hello guys, for those of you who've been waiting to see an update on my VR4, today I decided to make a video and put a little more content in it and tell you where where I am at right now and some of the challenges I came across while I was repairing this car and trying to bring it back to life. I'm not restoring it. I'm bringing it back to up to date, to a good drivable condition where the car is reliable and you're not going to be stuck on the road. If you're buying a car that's been sitting for a period of time, I cannot tell you how many times people come to me and say like, hey, I bought this car, it's been sitting for 6 years and the guy said it was running fine 6 years ago and there's nothing wrong with it. What's it going to take to make it run? And the answer to that question is, I don't know. Because when a vehicle sits, pretty much every system, every fluid that it's in the car, whether it's brake fluid, transmission fluid, engine oil, nothing gets cycled, warmed up, and most of the time cars sit outside, just like this car actually sat in the redwood forest and got infested by rodents. And actually a lot of the damage that it's done to the car is due to the fact that rodents got inside, and there is no entry point. I think the windows were left open. So yeah, think twice before you're buying a vehicle that has been sitting for a period of time. If you can do the job yourself, by all means go ahead. I personally didn't look at the car much. I loaded it on the trailer, and what is there to look at? I couldn't crank it over. There's no point of trying to even turn over the engine. You're risking a breaking timing belt, or actually in this case, there was so much debris that was tracked, whether from wind or rodents or whatnot, inside the engine bay area, that debris actually was inside where the timing belt lives. And actually I tried cranking it after I got the car in the shop, and I don't know if I caused this by debris going in between the teeth on the timing belt and the sprockets, but the front bank on the engine was quite a bit off time, and thankfully it didn't hit valves to damage the engine and cause a bigger problem. So today I'm going to show you where I'm at on this car. As you can see, all the damage has been fixed here from the collision. I spent quite a bit of time with the heat gun trying to fix the bumper and got it as best as I could. I am not going to paint this car. This car is going to have a faded old look, but it's going to be mechanically sound, and everything inside the interior is going to be completely replaced with a good used interior. I don't like aftermarket upholstery shops doing reupholstery on the seats and whatnot. I like the original quality leather. You cannot replace that or replicate. So yeah, let's go over what was done so far. The car is running. Surprisingly, it started. There's a first start video, but I got a little too excited there and I said some things that I shouldn't. And it's normal to get excited after working probably 2.5 months every weekend on this car, trying to get the engine running, and that was the only way I can get this car on the side of my house because I have a very steep driveway. And yeah, some things that have been replaced. I mentioned on the previous video, I have a new clutch. There's a new rear main seal. I replaced the seal on the transfer case shaft. The seal on the transmission input shaft on these cars cannot be replaced. You have to split the case. The seal is not even available, so if you have a leak there, you're pretty much doomed. That's on the transmission side. On the engine side, the engine turned out to be healthy, and there's no smoke on the first start, so per se oil smoke or anything of this kind. It's not leaking oil anywhere, and of course I replaced all the cam seals, crankshaft seals. Water pump has been replaced as well, all the tensioner pulleys, idlers. If you guys are replacing the cam seals on this car, when the engine is in the car, the only way to really replace those is to remove the valve covers and remove the front cap that it's actually holding the cam seal in place, because the seals are very thin and the seal puller barely fits on them, and plus you're right against the fender well here, and you cannot possibly fit a tool to pull the seals out or install them properly. So the first start was surprising because the computer actually was still alive enough to where the car started. It did run on 5 cylinders, however, and there was no injector pulls on on the middle of the front cylinders. So computer had to be replaced, and everything is fine as far as engine run. So yeah, I'll just take you around and show you how everything fits. Show you what I am doing right now. So here's how all the gaps lined up here on the headlights and the turn signal. These parking lights here are not available anymore, and if somebody's selling them, they are asking for a tremendous amount of money. There is a company that makes aftermarket kind of a scoop looking light, and they're a couple $100, and this is what I'm gonna go with at some point, because even if you find these, they're most likely gonna look like that, just cracking and worn out. But for now, they look pretty good. This turn signal was missing, and I had to buy this one from eBay. Apparently this is the place to go now if you want to buy parts for these cars. I am here in Oregon, and cars like this don't exist in the wrecking yards here. Also the fog lights were, one was completely missing, the other one was smashed beyond repair from the accident, and the fog lights were also from eBay. I think I got both of them for about $250, and they came from California, so they are rust free. Now this scoop here is missing some of the clips that hold it in place, and also the metal piece that it's behind this bumper was all smashed, and that was another $70 or $80 to buy this from eBay. The air dam, the active air dam, is completely missing on this car, and that's something that I don't think I can recover. Nobody has it for sale, neither on eBay or anywhere else, and yeah, I'm just gonna live without it. So let me show you guys the engine bay. and then we're gonna move on to some things that have been done already. Here's the state. Everything is in here for now, and I'll get to this part here in a minute, but I just want to show you first what was done in the engine bay. Where there's nothing is painted, I simply cleaned the engine. There was a lot of debris in here, and there is some vent holes here on the back of the timing belt cover, and a lot of debris got inside from through that hole. Surprisingly, not much wiring was damaged from the Rodents. I think they don't really like this type of wiring. This is older car, so the wiring is the wiring coating is actually nylon coating instead of being a soy-based product that it's used nowadays on the cars, and a lot of new cars suffer from rodent damage because rodents like to chew on that stuff. So everything here was cleaned, looked over. There was no damage here, and engine wiring. Some of, like, for instance, this little hose that is for the windshield washers have been chewed. This overflow tank had a big hole here where they ate through it, and to my surprise, this is still available on eBay. You can buy this bottle brand new from Mitsubishi dealership. I think it was about $80, and I bought these silicone hoses. This came in a kit. This is also, I think it's a good buy. These were $140, and they replace this hose, this one right here, which is not that crucial, but still I have it, and they replaced this one. I haven't installed this one yet. They replaced this one. I haven't installed this one because this one has actually a check valve here, and this check valve has to be moved into the new hose when you're installing it. And together with all these kind of auxiliary hoses, you get the two heater hoses, which is really the main reason I wanted to buy this kit. And originally I was thinking that those extra hoses are for the coolant hoses that are here around the throttle body, but that's not the case. But anyway, it's okay. I think it's absolutely worth it. And this company is called Autobahn. It's not a bad company. I've used their hoses before. It's a good silicone hose, and they have 3-4 layers of cloth embedded inside the hose. As far as wiring damage, I don't know if you can see down there, there's 2 wires down there for the reverse switch. Those wires were eaten, and the wires here for the fluid level sensor, for the windshield washer fluid level sensor were eaten, and the wires here for the turn signal were eaten, and that's about it. Everything else survived. What else? So AC. So this car is a 91, so it takes the R12. I don't know if I mentioned earlier on the video already, but I got a 94 donor car that has the R134 system, and from what I can see, the differences in the compressor and maybe some of the lines or the bracket on the compressor is different. So if you're converting to auto 134, you need a different compressor and different bracket. And maybe these lines that fit in the compressor, the plug is exactly the same. The core inside, I don't see much of a difference as far as the core goes for the AC. But yeah, I don't know what else is there to show here. Everything is stock, and this is why I really bought this car, because there were not many options to begin with, searching for a car like this nowadays. But this is original car that never been really tampered with. It's never been tuned or messed with, and this is really hard to find, because everybody is pushing the limits on these engines, and by the time you get it, it's already hurt, and you're gonna be looking into repairing engine, which engine repair is never cheap. Belts were replaced here. Motor mounts, I haven't replaced the motor mounts yet. They're sagged and worn out, but they're good enough for now. Okay, well, moving on. I'm going to show you the Fender Wells here. So the reason why tires and wheels are off in the front is because I was cleaning here the Fender Wells, and these Fender Wells are painted the color of the car, and all the black paints that you see here, this is a POR 15. It's a paint on rust, pretty much. This paint converts rust, so you can paint right on rusty spots. This car is rust free. All the rust that you see here on the suspension, that's how most of the suspension looked like. It's just a spotting surface rust here and there. The body is completely rust free. Besides here, this part of the frame had a battery acid leak, and it caused the frame to have surface rust, so I painted that over. When I had the K-member off, I painted here inside, and now I painted here to have a matte black finish, and also black fits better for Fender Well versus being the car color. This plastic Fender Well has been removed, and everything has been pressure washed in here to clean the inside of the fender. Something to point out, there is a lot of debris that collects here behind this plastic Fender Well, because the drains from the cowl actually drain in here and come down in between this in between the side skirt and this plastic Fender Well. So you'll be surprised how much debris gets collected here, and it just keeps moisture and causes your rocker panels on the inside to start rusting. So this is something should be cleaned periodically, maybe once a year, depending on where you keep your car, under a tree or yeah, don't overlook this. It's kind of I would say a lot of Japanese cars that I've owned have this issue where they collect here debris, and it has to be periodically cleaned. So suspension sides, K-member and control arms, like I mentioned on the previous video, have been replaced from another car. The only when you're replacing the K-member, the K-member is not unique to VR4. You can get a K-member from a regular front-wheel drive car. The difference though is there is one tab missing, where, let me see if I can show you guys here. Yeah, I won't be able to. for the rear wheel steering, there's a couple of lines, pressure lines that pass by in this section here. There is one tab missing where like a little skid plate, if you want to call it a skid plate protector for those lines, it bolts onto the cane member, and that's all that it's different about it between two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And also this support here that goes from left side to the right side, that one is also the same as on the front wheel drive, and again it's one tab missing. Oh, I can show you this one, I think. And let's see, there it is. This tab here, this little bracket is missing, so I just cut it off of the other one and bolted it to this one. For now, I'm gonna weld it later on to this brace. So that was the only difference. If you're thinking about replacing your braces here and cane member and whatnot, they're exactly the same as a two-wheel drive. It doesn't have to be VR4. Yeah, so we're done here. The car is aligned. The car aligned pretty good. Everything surprisingly to me is back in the green, and yes, that was very surprising considering the state of the car, and I was expecting to have hits on the suspension and whatnot and not be able to get it right, but everything, camber, caster, toe, everything has been set, and it's set to specification. I'm not going to lower this car. This car is gonna stay on the stock height. I live in a mountain area. We have snow here, and this is kind of a sole purpose why I bought this car, because it's a four-wheel drive and I can drive it winter time and not worry about being stuck somewhere. And I need it to be on a good height, so I can go. I'm not limited to where I can drive it, and yeah. So these are the wheels I chose for this car. These are Mitsubishi wheels. I think I'm gonna put a little more content on them on the next video, but they only require a 5mm spacer here to clear the front caliper. As many of you know, this is kind of an issue with these cars. Not many wheels fit on the front axle because of the way the offset is, and manufacturers don't really care enough to specify or test enough. This car is pretty old, and you know, to test enough and specify and tell you which wheel will actually clear the caliper or will fit with like a minimal, like a 5mm spacer here, where the wheel is not going to be sticking out past the fender too much and look like it doesn't belong on this car. So everything here is done, and currently I am in the process of removing all the debris from the Rodents, and it was terrible in here. There's still a lot of smell, but this is the situation, so I have to deal with it. And everything here has been removed, and the only reason why it's been removed is to clean all the rodent debris, poop and nests, and look at all the wiring and see if anything is damaged. Only few wires were chewed and damaged. This is the one wire. I haven't looked at the wiring diagram, but judging by where this goes, it goes into the steering wheel. So I would say that this is the driver airbag wire. Was chewed. There is another sensor on the other side that had some wiring chewed, but that's it. Nothing. Like I said, I guess they don't like rodents don't like to chew on this wiring very much, because nothing else is chewed or eaten. I'm still in the process of removing here these quarter panel covers, and once I remove those, then I'm going to wash the back section of the car. This is how everything looked. As you can see, how much dirt and debris was tracked from the rodents, and they actually went in here in these holes in the frame and made a nest in there, which was very difficult to clean. Had to make small hose extensions on the vacuum cleaner so I can vacuum as much as I can, and then I was spraying water inside. I mean, every connector afterwards had to be air dried. Yeah, it was, as you can see, the firewall insulation is also missing. They managed to get behind the firewall insulation as well, despite that the firewall insulation is almost flush with the firewall. So all that insulation is currently removed from the back of the firewall insulation. Is kind of a linoleum black cover, and between the linoleum and the firewall is where the insulation is sandwiched. And I currently remove all the insulation and clean all the glue, and I'm going to cut new insulation and glue it to the linoleum part, and just restore the firewall insulation. I'm going to paint these sections here where it's got surface rust with the POR 15, just to cure these little spots, especially up there, as you can see by the hoses for the heater core. So yeah, this is where I am right now. Today is October 1st, and we have a nice sunny day, so it's just a great time to do this before I don't know how many more sunny days we're gonna have, but this has to be clean so it has a time and good weather to dry. And again, all the connectors on the back and all the little modules that are on the back has to be removed before I do that, and air dried, and it's probably gonna take me a good 2 days. Today is Saturday, so hopefully by end of tomorrow I will be done cleaning and finally start putting this car back together. The dash, I ordered another dash simply because this dash has sat too long on the sun, and it shrunk by the vents. Let me walk you guys in here. Here's the insulation for the firewall. As you can see, everything is cleaned and marked where all the holes have to be cut in the insulation. This took a good day to clean this and get it to where it is right now. There is no way you can pull this insulation in one piece. You simply have to remove steering wheel and pedals and everything that it's behind on the driver's side, and there was no way I'm doing that. Plus they didn't get back there because those parts are really flush with the firewall, and They couldn't get inside there, so I tear it in two sections, and then I'm gonna use some of like a duct tape, the aluminum duct tape, to kind of stick the two pieces together. And as this insulation is not visible anyway, it's behind the dash and under the carpet, so only I will know what happened here. Here is the dash. We have some new vents for the dash, but the new vents don't fit well. There's a guy in UK that made a video of how he is repairing these vents. He's repairing the dash. You can see how much this dash dash cover pulled away and shrunk, pulled away from this vent hole. And the guy in UK is showing he's putting some clips here, and he's heating up this section so he can stretch the material back to where it was. But yeah, I think I am beyond that, and I'm not gonna spend the day trying to recover this. I bought a different dash cover from eBay. It was around $450, and supposedly it's gonna be shipped next week at some point. And it looked a lot better than this. As you can see, it's breaking here. I can see how much of a gap has created between the covering and the plastic that the dash is made of. There is no way I can close that. No way. I'm not gonna try. I tried different glues. I tried some weather stripping glue to try and hold this down. I warmed it up, but the glue is not holding well, and as you can see, it went back to where it was before I even started doing something. So I'm not going to waste any more time on it. I'm gonna move on to a different section of the car. Surprisingly, there are no cracks here on top. The biggest damage is to the vents. So some other things that are prepared. These vents are from the donor car, all cleaned up and ready to go. These boxes are again from the donor car, and they're all cleaned up and ready to go. On the outside, this box has to be cleaned a little bit, but the other car had manual vent operation, a heater door operation, and if you ever have to replace any of these components here, and you want to put your electric operated the heater blend doors and whatnot, the heater boxes are universal, so just one bracket or two are different, but you can transfer them to the non electronically operated heater box, no problem. Everything fits just like it's supposed to. This is a battery tray. This is the battery tray that was on my car. This is one I got from eBay for $20. I mean, it's not worth it to try and do something with this. Yes, it can be sandblasted, it can be painted afterwards, but honestly, for $20 to get something that it's at this state, that's a better way to go. And here is the AC control. Here's the AC core. There is some kind of a controller here that was on the donor car, which doesn't exist on mine. As you can see, it's just the sensor. This is a temp sensor, and comes out to this plug, and that's it. And here, this plug goes into a kind of a module controller that actually can be adjusted, which is surprising. They give you option to adjust something of this kind. But yeah, all this is going to be removed, and all I need is to unplug this sensor from here and transfer it to my car. So yeah, I think I'm gonna finish this video here, and we'll keep you guys. Actually, no, one more thing I wanted to point out. I wanted to show you guys where all the grounds are inside the car, now that everything is exposed. And this is something to pay attention, especially when you're buying a car that's sitting for a period of time. If you wonder why things don't work inside the car, most likely those grounds are gonna be the cause of that. So there is a ground that is bolted right here to this bolt. There is a brace here that holds the dash. There is one ground that is bolted right here, and that ground comes from the engine wiring harness, which is this one right here. This wiring harness is separate than the rest of the wiring in the car. This is where the engine control module plugs in, and here this is the one ground that this ground was completely rusted and had to be repaired. The other ground is down here. This is a passenger side of the car, and on the driver's side there's another ground right here. As you can see, they're quite a bit corroded and rusted. I will clean them once I'm done washing and cleaning in here completely. And the other ground is right here on top of the dash. So if you have something not working in the car, make sure you check those grounds first and clean them. If they look like that, run a thread chaser through the threads with the bolts onto the dash, because this is the area actually where the bolt makes contact with the frame of the car and provides ground. Not, as you can see, this is a painted area, so this is not a point of contact. The point of contact is actually inside where the threads are. So if you run a thread chaser, it's gonna clean those threads nice and shiny and clean, and the bolt is gonna make a good connection for the wires. So yeah, I think this is it for now, and when I have a little more time and when I get to a point where there's actually something more to show on this car, I will make another video, keep you guys updated. Oh, okay, one more thing, the hood insulation. This is another thing that was missing on this car, and hood insulation is important. It was missing here. As you can see, it caused the paint to overheat and peel off, and there was some rough spots here, so this is why this is all painted. Hood insulation is universal, whether you have first gen or second gen car. It's exactly the same hood insulation for all the 3000 GTs. So that's it for now, and I will see you guys on the next one, and thanks for watching, and like and subscribe. Let me know if you want to see something specific about this car. There's a lot of videos out there that show different repairs on these cars. I'm not going to go into detail of replacing clutch and whatnot, but you let me know, what do you want to see, and what do you and we'll try to answer the questions. It's a good time that the car is apart and many things are exposed. So thanks for watching, and bye now. See you on the next one.